I had this idea. If you clicked on this video, you may have a problem and an addiction with book reading and volume reading. But anyway, I thought about this. We're coming up to May, a new month. Might as well try something new in a new month. And I came up with this idea of, at first, it was reading 100 books in 1 month. Is that a challenge? That's possible. But I did the math on it. Even if you're speed reading and you have like 5 hours a day to read, I just think it's too exhausting. I don't think you're going to get through it. So I scratched that 100 because that's just an arbitrary number. That sounds nice, but it's not. It's not realistic. So I thought, what about 50? Could you read 50 books in a 31-day period in a month? And I think you could. Um, Now, that would mean you're reading something like 600 books a year if you maintain that throughout the year. You're only reading a book and a half, or, well, basically a book and a quarter a day. And it's very possible. I think you could strategize easily to read your 50 books this May. And I think you would strategize by basically just get 200 to 400 page novels and like easy stuff like James Patterson or whatever. You could easily do 50 books in a month. And the whole reason for this challenge is really just to kind of give yourself a physical material idea and understanding that sheer volume reading is not going to do anything for you. You're just amassing entertainment, right? So it's like binge watching. You're just binge reading. A lot of people seem to do this, though. I mean, the reason why I bring this up is it just when I go to um, like the Reddit book forum, it just seems like people are basically reading novels that are recent. They're fairly new. They're like youth, young adult fiction stuff. I mean, a lot of booktubers that I have seen, it seems like they're just reading youth YA novels, young adult novels, or they're also reading picture books like mangas and graphic novels. I don't really have anything against those things per se. It's just not my interest. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not very interested in a lot of that stuff I just mentioned. But maybe I'm missing out too. Like I have to be open minded. That's what book readers are. They're very open minded to stuff that they haven't they haven't experienced before, and maybe they can get something out of it. So that's what kind of the 50 book reading challenge would be to me. Like, could I read a bunch of those just novels that everybody seems to love to read by all those boomer authors? And was I missing out on something? Is there a lot of interesting information about real life? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Now, I, of course, did make a video the other day about reading loads of books and why you should read loads of books because you have to get through tons of books to get to the good stuff. Maybe you find authors that you really enjoy that are, if every now and then you want to read a novel, you see, oh, hey, there is a new James Patterson or there is another John Grisham or, that genre of people, of authors. Maybe you see one in you're like, okay, I could use a neat little novel right now. I don't need to read a theological interpretation of American history. I don't need to read a book on race relations. I don't need to read a book on the Civil War or World War II and the origins thereof. Any of that kind of stuff. I don't need to read a book on algorithms. Um, you can you can just take your time by reading a variety of things and occasionally just silly little novels that aren't a big deal might be a way to get more reading in for yourself to get you back into a reading habit and a practice of reading where you enjoy it because maybe you'll enjoy those things. I don't know. Maybe they'll be easier to understand. They won't be difficult. You don't have to study them. You don't have to do any textual analysis. You're not taking any notes. It's not homework. So that could be an easy thing to kind of develop a reading habit. So read 50 books in May. It's only like a book a day plus some change. So getting into the second book, you can easily find 50 books at your library. You don't have to take 50 out at once. You can just take out a few at a time. Find shorter books. Don't just get long books. And practice the habit of reading every day. And you can speed read. You can slow read and probably still achieve the goal, but I would use the reading of a lot of novels that you would otherwise never ever touch in your life. I would use that as an opportunity to practice your speed reading. So in May, I want you to practice your speed reading by reading through 50 novels, and they can be like the most saccharine, even if they're young adult, youth adult novels. Go for it, and speed read your way through those, and develop a daily habit of sitting down and reading. I did the math where if you read 40 pages every 10 minutes, which is very easy to do on a just a mass market paperback novel, um, that kind of size of a book. If you read 40 pages every 10 minutes, it only takes you a little over an hour to get through a like 250 page book, I believe. Maybe it was 400. I don't remember the math exactly, but it'll take you about an hour of reading a day to get through some of those books that you could just plow through. And who knows, maybe you read through a lot more than you initially anticipated. It's a challenge. It's an opportunity to just get into reading, doing a ton of reading, feeling what volume reading feels like, and coming to understand, is that how you want to read? Is that really what you want to do? And or do you really want to just be okay reading 5 to 10 books a year, but really read difficult or interesting things and getting a lot out of them instead of just piling on a bunch of TV shows. But sometimes TV shows can be interesting. I'm watching Moblands recently on Paramount Plus, and I'm enjoying it. Like, am I learning from it? Am I developing myself? And am I improving by watching the show? No, of course not. It's just entertainment. And I believe most books, 99% of books you read, they're just a form of entertainment to you. You are not applying them to your day to day living that's improving your life, unless that is specifically what you're looking for. What I call the Bruce Lee reading habit, which is everything he read. If you ever look at the Bruce Lee reading list, absolutely everything he read was applied directly to what he was, a martial artist. He read tons of martial art books. He read Chinese philosophy, which was an interest of his, and he read a lot of workout, exercise, diet, and health type stuff. So it was just all singularly focused on what he was interested in. And I think he read one novel. He was an avid reader, but it was highly, highly focused. And then there's what I call the Art Garfunkel style of reading, which is if you look at, because you can find the reading lists online, you can find a list of what Art Garfunkel, um, a musician, had read over the decades. And his reading is much like mine, where it's just all over the place. There's a history book, there's a classic, there's a novel, there's a nonfiction, there's a philosophy. It's just all over the place. And um, I think a lot of us probably read that way. It's hard. I think it's difficult to do the focused reading of, say, like a Bruce Lee figure, where you are only ever reading stuff directly applicable to whatever your profession and your way of life is, and just having no interests outside of that. I can't imagine that, but some people are able to focus in that fashion, and good for them. I'm not disparaging anyone if you're an Art Garfunkel or if you're a Bruce Lee. I don't. It doesn't matter to me, and you should just embrace what you are instead of trying to be one of those. And if all you want to ever read are YA novels, go for it. I suppose I think you're missing out on some of the classics and some other books that would be mentally challenging. I think the more you mentally challenge yourself, the more mentally challenged you will become. No, the more mental challenge you take on, the more you will crave more increased mental challenges. It's like building a muscle. If you read one very difficult book but it's rewarding to you, you're gonna want to get into more of that. You're not gonna want to read a bunch of fluffy novels. So anyway, May, 50 bucks, and I will be trying this. I will also be attempting this feat, and then I'll see if I can do a video on the books that I have read, and I will leave it at that. This is just all about developing your speed reading, developing your reading habit, your daily reading habit. It doesn't take that much time. And I will see you on the other side. Good luck.